Hi everyone, my name is Rick and I welcome you back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about post-Hurricane Ian and how it affected some of the plants in my garden, mostly Hoyas and Orchids and philodendrons. And then I'm going to show you 12 Hoyas that are either new to me, a bunch of them are new to me, and then some that are doing some exquisite stuff, and I'd like to show that to you guys. And that's Swiffer. She is like my little shadow. She follows me everywhere I go. She's out here, which is surprising because the chickens are out and she doesn't seem to get along with them. But I think as time goes by, she's becoming more comfortable around them. So let me just start out here in the garden. I've shifted a lot of these plants, and when you shift plants, they seem to take a little bit of time to get used to where they're at before they start growing again. And this time of year too, it's the fall, so the weather starts getting a little cooler and plant growth slows down quite a bit. So out here, I did move this occultata out here a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if you can see, it's taken a while for it to start putting out another peduncle. Yeah, this one seems to flower quite a bit most of the year, probably like 10 months out of the year it's in bloom. But it's after the hurricane it stopped. So I'm going to start out showing you this Theresa Ritchie. It's a Cattleya hybrid. It's really beautiful and it's really fragrant and super easy to bloom. It just blooms a few times a year, and it has like those beautiful petals and sepals that are like green, and they kind of like yellow out a little more when the flower gets older, and that lip really stands out against the green. And you can see there's another couple buds opening up over there. I've had this plant for about 5 years, and it's really super easy and rewarding, and it just see, it kind of puts out a lot of roots, so it's not a very difficult orchid to grow here in South Florida. So what else I have out here? I brought this is my micro dwarf. I'm not sure if it was liking the greenhouse because it's a little too warm in there. The leaves look a little paler than when I first got it, so I brought it out here so it's not so hot. So it seems to be doing okay underneath this philodendron. So yeah, all these plants were up here in this tree. And if you watched my previous video, you noticed that one of the branches fell down and knocked down lots of stuff. And it fell right through the path here. But most of the Hoyas that were on there survived. Some with minor leaf damage and some with you know, a little more substantial. But I took cuttings and started out new plants, so everything should be all right. One example is this New Guinea Ghost. I think I showed it last video, and it did took a hit from the tree coming down, and this was on the floor, and I was going to cut it up and start all new cuttings from it, but I decided not to do that yet. And I've been babying it a little bit, and it seems to be kind of bouncing back. Some of this leaf damage is probably going to be covered up with all the new growth that's going to happen. So hopefully that'll continue to grow and be a great plant that when it looked at its best, it was really stunning. So in the backyard, I didn't really do much. Just a lot of leaf debris, those bamboo leaves, like everywhere. I think I filled a dumpster with it. And yeah, all these plants were on the tree during the hurricane, and none of them fell down from there. They're pretty resilient. And some of the orchids actually bloomed, you know, right after the hurricane. But the thing is, I really noticed a decrease in flowers. I think it's a combination of the really strong winds that really rocked the plants, and some of them got moved, and the weather's getting cooler has something to do with it. These guys all stayed here. The obliqua is doing pretty well. These tendrils, I keep wanting to plant them and see if they put out new plants, but I haven't done that yet. There's been so much going on. And then this is the the Ring of Fire, and it's really putting out really gorgeous variegation, really stunning. And this is the Friedeck. You've seen it in my previous videos. And then I moved the suleciana over here. I think it was getting too much sun on the other side of the garden, and it was losing some of the variegation, so I brought it out here. And the tortium is never misses a beat, puts out these really cool leaves, as you can see. So that's basically, I haven't done much except rake a lot of the leaves that fell down during the hurricane. But again, it's the fall, so some of these plants are not going to be as vigorous growing as they do in the spring and summer here in Florida. So I think I need to water my phylora here. And this is my Lokiai chicken farm, is doing really great over here. And this is Singapore. And over here I need to trim some of the plants around here. It's causing too much shade. And this is Erythrina. It's doing pretty well. It's about, I would say it's about 5 feet long vines, and it's in a 4-inch pot. And it has bloomed for me. I think a few videos back you'll see a video where I show the bloom and knock down the peduncle at the same time. Over here is a Yopi, Philodendron Yopi. I think it likes this spot. It kind of just blends in into the palm trees, but it's pretty beautiful philodendron putting out a nice new leaf. And that's a no-nooch Hoya. And over here I have some Mednillas and some other philodendrons. They didn't suffer too much from the strong winds. I think this area over here is protected. Over there I have a anthurium, and then I have a Hoya suricana over there that seems to like that spot. And that's pretty much it. Let me get to the Hoyas that I have selected for you today. And if you see any of the products that I use in my garden and any of these videos, I have an Amazon storefront, and I list all the stuff that I buy on there, like from potting supplies to propagation supplies to you know, all kinds of plant related stuff. I also have an Instagram and a Facebook group called Rick and Swiffer's Hoyas, where I sell a lot, most of my Hoyas lately. I used to sell on eBay for years and years, but I find that it's easier for me to be in my own Facebook group selling Hoyas on there. So you want to check that out. All those links are down in the description, so please take a look and see if you see anything you like. Please join the groups, check my Instagram, please comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I noticed that most of the people that watch my videos are not even subscribers, so if I could get those watchers to subscribe to my channel, I would be very grateful. I'd appreciate that. So let me get to the Hoyas. And we got the chickens out here watching. They probably want me to give them some treats. And when I give the cat some treats, these chickens are very aggressive, and they'll actually go after the cat treats, and the cat gets upset. So I'm not going to do that in front of the cats, because I don't want a little tiff this morning. So the first Hoya I have for you today is this Patricolata. It's not new to me. I've had it for over a year. And as you can see, it's really, really gorgeous. I like this really kind of minty green, and it has like this really nice elbow variegation going on. It's really beautiful. And I apologize for, I just noticed that my fingers are covered in dirt, is because I was potting before I started shooting the video, and I forgot to go in and wash my hands. So this is a Patricolata, and my trick to growing this one, and it seems to be a problem for some people to grow it, it has very succulent leaves. So you want to kind of grow it like a succulent, like a cactus. You want to completely dry it out before watering, and give it a little more light than your average Hoya. I think that is the trick for me to grow in this Hoya. And it's in a little cat pot that my friend Dana from Texas gave me, and I really love it. I like the way the plant sits on there. It's pretty cool looking. I even have a begonia for you. Actually, this guy was living inside my terrarium, but as you can see, it's getting quite large, and I think I'm going to move it into the greenhouse. I think it likes a lot of humidity, and it was doing really well in the terrarium because of the high humidity and temperatures around 70-75 degrees. But I think this is Begonia feryx. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And it's really, really kind of scary and beautiful at the same time. There's like these really, they're not like, they won't hurt your finger if you run it against the top of them, but they're really pointy protrusions in the leaf, and the back of the leaf is really like soft fuzz. So the favorite is when the leaf starts maturing at the early stage of the leaf, and it gets a little not as interesting as the leaf becomes more mature. This is like a more mature leaf. It kind of loses some of the fuzz in the back, and these get a little dry tips, and they're a little more pokey. So, but when the new leaves come out, like you can see on here, it's quite stunning. It's one of my favorite begonias, and this is Begonia feryx. The next Hoya I have for you, and I've showed it a few videos, but today I was walking into the greenhouse, and again it stuck out at me. This is AH053, and one of the most beautiful things about this Hoya is that it gets really, really dark petioles on the leaves. As you can see, it's like a dark purple, really stunning. And then I had it in higher light, and you can see there's some purple coming out in the middle of the leaf. Some of the splotches, it's consistently very splashy, but I just noticed this purple splotching recently, and I think it's because it's getting quite a bit more sun than it was getting before. So this is AH053. I think it might be a hybrid. I don't know much about it. All I know is that it's definitely not a difficult grower. It just likes to grow on the dry side, and I think it does pretty well in a good amount of light and a fast draining soil. The leaves do seem to be they're pretty average thickness, so keep an eye on it and it'll reward you. It's a really beautiful foliage plant. And this is a sort of an update. I've had this Hoya for, I would say, at least 4 months, maybe 5 months. This is Hoya suleciana, Alba marginata. And since the cooler days are getting here, and it's getting a good amount of sun in the greenhouse, I wanted to show you how beautiful the nice red edges to the Alba marginata part is. So it's really stunning, and this is like an older leaf. Is a leaf that has a little more variegation. It's the nice pink purplish edge to it gives it a really nice touch. So, and this Hoya has exquisite flowers, so I think it has everything. It's very succulent, has exquisite flowers, and the leaves are pretty attractive, especially the Alba marginata. And to grow this one, again, my theory is that the thicker the leaf, the less water. So like if you have a really thin leaf Hoya, you want to water it more. But what I do with my thick leaf Hoyas is I just let them dry out completely. And they sometimes stay dried out completely for a few days before I water them again. Part of it is because I forget, because there's so many, or just because I do it on purpose, because yeah, they don't like to be too wet, and that's a major cause of root rot, is when you have a Hoya that stays too wet longer than it likes. So, and this Hoya over here is a lacanosa that goes around by the name of Lacanosa Amarillo. I believe it means yellow because Amarillo means yellow in Spanish, and not the city in Texas. So what I discovered, or been watching this Hoya, what I've been gathering from it is that when you fertilize it and it's really happy, it puts out almost all completely solid green leaves. When you deprive it of some nutrients and you forget to fertilize it for a while, you get like these really nice pattern on the leaves. Some people think it's like a mineral deficiency. I think it's maybe a mutation in this clone that is not absorbing enough magnesium or manganese or one of the nutrients that it needs, so it gives you that appearance. I've had some conflicting ideas on this, and some people say they do fertilize theirs and it looks fine like this, and others say it does revert to green. And I think the original seller of this Hoya actually sent someone an email saying that to get it to be more like this with the yellow, you just increase the light and you decrease the fertility. And this Hoya over here, I've had it for years and years and years, and I don't think it gets as much recognition as it should. It's one of the most beautiful Finlaysonii type Hoyas. Look at that splash, and it's pretty consistent. All the leaves have a good amount of splash. They're very textured. They have like this nice undulating edge. As you can see, it's not just a plain straight leaf. It has a nice midrib there and in the back. So it's a Finlaysonii. It does bloom very similar to your typical Finlays, but these leaves in lower light, they get really, really dark green. And again, they don't have a lot of veins, but they have a lot of texture, and the edge makes it a very, very attractive plant. And this is EPC Finlaysonii EPC 207. And this Hoya is a Hoya clementorium IML 1752. This is actually an original this is a cutting from a plant that I got from David Whittle in Australia long before the Indonesian sellers started selling all different types of all different clones of Hoya clementorium. This one, I find it to be one of the ones that gets the longest leaves, and it gets really hard leaves and has a really nice sharp point to them. These leaves can be like almost 10 inches long, and like I said, this is clementorium IML 1752. It's not as fast of a grower as I'd like it to be. And if you turn the back of the leaf, you see like that nice dark maroon color, very typical of the clementorium type Hoyas. And let me show you another angle. You can see how big these guys are. I'll put my hand on here so that my hand across is about 4 or 5 inches, so you can see how huge this leaf is. I know you guys are probably thinking this video is getting way too long, but I promise I'm saving the best for last. So let me just show you this new lacanosa that I got, and the information that I got says it's a Finnish lacanosa from Hawaii. I guess the seller is Gunan Orchids in Malaysia, I'm assuming. And one of the beautiful things about this one is that you can see the veins and the abs on this one are pretty pronounced. And yeah, it's definitely a cool clone. It would be nice to have a huge pot of it to see how that looks in the end. But yeah, it's definitely, it seems like it has a thicker leaf as well, so it seems like it would be easier to grow than your average lacanosa. And this is my Hoya tanaki. I got it as a maybe a 3-leaf 2-node cutting a few months ago. I would say probably 5 months ago. and it's actually a really good grower for me. So it's grown all this much. It's Stenaki, Stenakei. And the beauty of this Hoya is the flowers. They're really stunning. I haven't bloomed this. I cannot wait to do so. But the flowers are really, like I said, they're really gorgeous. Another attribute to this Hoya is that the leaves are like really, really fuzzy. Even like the newer leaves, they maintain some of the fuzz in the back. I'm sorry, the older leaves maintain some of the fuzz in the back. The newer leaves are fuzzy all over. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's really fuzzy, trust me. Really cute. At first, from far away, it looks like it could be like an onychoides or a McGillivray, but once you feel the leaves, you automatically know that it's not. And it's actually a Stenaki. So as soon as I bloom this guy, I'm sure you guys will be the first ones to see it. Okay, I've had this Hoya for a while. It's not the fastest grower for me. Maybe I was doing something wrong. I moved it up to increased light, and it seems to like that. These leaves were pretty dark green, so in the light they get more pale as expected, but it's put out this really nice new shoot, as you can see here, and it looks like it's going to put out like 3 new sets of leaves. And this is Hoya Longley from Yunnan, China. And I would really like to bloom this one, but I have an inkling that this is a higher altitude Hoya and probably very difficult to bloom here at sea level here in Central Florida. And Ara from Shop Plantasmic, that's her Etsy store. I'll put that link down in the description. So this one was sold to her, as it says here on a tag, as Dahlia, a possible Dahlia. And it's from Kaikoena, as you can see there. So I don't know much about this Hoya. At first, when she showed me a picture of it, I thought it was a Falziana, subspecies angulata, and I'll show you that next. But it's not. After looking at the leaf, they do have quite a few differences just from the leaf. And I haven't seen the flowers on this this plant, obviously. But as soon as I do, I'll share and compare it to the Falziana that I have. And I just wanted to do a quick comparison between my angulata, my Falziana angulata, to the new species that I got. You can see the angulata is really beautiful. They have like this really unique splash. And the new growth comes in like a coppery color. These are probably a week or two older, so they don't have that really nice copper sheen they do when they're first rolling out. But you can check that out in I think a few videos ago. I have one with the cover of the video being a leaf of the Falziana, so it'll be easier to find if you look through my videos. And here is the new species that I got from Plasmatic, and I'll show you. They're quite different, actually. The leaf on the Falziana is a lot wider than the new species, which is longer and slimmer. Other than that, I have no idea what the flower is, like I mentioned before, but I will really be looking forward to that, and you guys will be the first ones to see it when it happens. And this Hoya is also from Shop Plasmatic, from my friend Ara. And you can see these leaves are pretty, they're pretty thick, actually. I think it's a Hoya. I don't think anyone's seen flowers on this. And if you have seen flowers on this, I would appreciate you sending me an email. I would love that. And here's some more pictures of the leaves. They're pretty, you know, not really spectacular looking, but sometimes these mundane looking leaves can turn out to have the most amazing flowers. So this is a Hoya species that they found in Sumatra. And there's the girls. They're actually eating away at one of my plants. It grows like a weed, so I don't mind that they peck on it. They seem to be okay. They eat away, and then the next week it has more leaves. So I'm not too worried about it. So this is the last Hoya I have for you. And this one here is Hoya Lokiai yellow. Very rare. I think, I'm pretty sure it's from Vietnam. And I just got it a few weeks ago from Sarisa in Thailand. And it seems to be doing really well. And I might be getting I think that's a little, you can't really see it, it's a little tiny. There's a peduncle over there, so I'll make sure to keep this Hoya wet, because I know it doesn't like to dry out, especially when it's putting out a peduncle. And this is Hoya Lokiai yellow. It's pretty rare. The first time I saw it was a few months ago, and since I've seen it, it jumped to the top of my want list, and I was fortunate to get one. And that's going to be it for today. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It does really help my confidence. I mean, making these videos is not one of the most comfortable things for me to do. I'm usually not very comfortable in front of the camera, and not very comfortable talking into the camera. So yeah, I do these videos because I like to document my backyard and my plants. And I really do get a boost in confidence when I get more subscribers and comments and likes. So I appreciate it very much. And I hope you come back next week. And in a couple of weeks, I'll be heading over to Thailand. I'll probably shoot some videos over there in the wild. Probably have a lot of temples, a lot of Hoyas, and lots of stuff that will be of interest to the people that watch my channel. So I hope you guys have a great week ahead. And I hope you come back next Sunday. Bye-bye.